I just realized my mic wasn't on. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It is my favorite day of the week because I get to craft with all of you. I am so excited to have you here today. If you're joining me, please share the video. Give me lots of thumbs up and hearts. Let me know that you're here. Leave comments so I can interact with you as we craft together. I am super excited for the projects we have tonight. I'm going to use something that I haven't used yet, so you get to see me play with it and learn about it at the same time I do, which is super exciting. Remember to share. I will be doing a draw for the Touched My Heart host set for those of you that share the video tonight. And the reason I'm doing that, as opposed to just the cards that I will be making, you'll still get those, but it's in honor of Valentine's Day this coming weekend. Now, I received this card from Karen Duke. How cute is that? You go, girl, with the lips and lipstick. Can you see the shimmer on there? And inside is Happy Galentine's Day. I love it. You know, with Valentine's Day around the corner and not being able to see our friends and family, I wanted to spread a little cheer this week. So that's why I'm doing the draw for the Touched My Heart stamp set. So you will get that along with the cards we're going to make tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to flip the camera and let's get crafty together. All right, so I've just switched my mics. Hopefully you can still hear me. Trying something a little bit different tonight in terms of my mic usage so that the sound is a little bit better. So tonight we are going to use the Art Gallery bundle. So this is found on page 32 of the mini catalog. It's actually featured on the cover of the mini catalog. And if you don't have a catalog yet and you live in Canada, I can send one out to you. You just have to let me know. Leave me a comment or send me a private message with your address details and I will get that out to you. So it's part of the Fine Art Floral Suite. So this is the entire suite of products seen on page 32 of the catalog. And here's the stamp set and dies here. So that's on page 34. It's the Art Gallery stamp set and the Floral Gallery dies. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I share my post. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm actually doing a play on this card here. This card was created recently at a demonstrator play date I attended. So it was one of the make and takes. And this was the card we made. At the time, I didn't have the Art Gallery stamp set, so I improvised with the Forever and Always bundle. But tonight I have the stamp set here, so we're going to play with it. And I'm going to use some of the in colors. So you can see that I've changed up the colors from what the sample is. And these in colors are actually going to be retiring. So this is Pretty Peacock and Seaside Spray. And let me tell you, if you enjoy the in colors, you are going to want to stock up before the retirement list comes out in a few weeks, because as soon as they announce that the colors are retiring, they will sell out like that. No joke, like they will totally sell out. So the card base is going to be Pretty Peacock, and it's 8.5 by 5.5. So it's a standard measurement, and we're going to fold that in half to be 5.5 by 4.25. I'm just going to grab my bone folder because I like that nice crisp edge. There we go. All right, and then our next layer is Seaside Spray, and it measures 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And I'm going to put that right on my base using my Stampin' Seal. So of course, when you're cutting your mats, it's always a good idea to cut them 1/4 inch smaller than the layer that it's going on top of. And that gives you a nice 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. You can just give that a nice push and it's ready to go. So I'm going to put that to the side. The next thing we want to do is emboss a piece of basic white cardstock. So I'm going to use the Painted Textures 3D embossing folder. And to use our embossing folders, you just put the paper inside, fold it closed, and then I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I normally do this off camera, but every once in a while I like to pull it in. So this is the machine. It's portable, so that's why it's folded up. So to use it, you just unfold, and then your platform tells you what you need. So in this case, we're using a 3D embossing folder. So it tells me I need a 1 and a 4. So this is my 1. So I'm going to put that down first. I'm going to put my embossing folder on top of that. And then this is my number 4. It's going to go on top of the sandwich, and we're just going to crank it through to the other side. And when I pull that out, our paper is now textured. How fantastic is that? Now I am going to use this for the other card that we're going to make tonight. So I'm just going to do the same process and run the cardstock through the embossing folder again, and then I can tuck the machine to the side for the time being. And what I love about our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is it goes both ways. So previously I went right to left, now I'm going left to right, and all you have to do is crank the handle the opposite direction and it goes through. So there we have our second piece of cardstock for project number 2, which we'll do in a little bit. So I'm just going to tuck this out of the way. I will pull it back in momentarily to do some cutting. There we have our nice embossed paper, and that's going to get attached to the card base directly once again, and we're just going to use our seal. Now, a word to the wise with our 3D folders is they do really break down the fibers of the paper, and if you're not careful with your seal, it will tear and lift. So go slow when you're attaching your adhesive to the embossed paper. So just give that a nice rub, make sure it's secure, and we're going to tuck that to the side. And then I'm going to pull in a scrap of basic white. And I apologize if you can hear my son in the background with his Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde laugh. He's gaming as per usual on a Monday night. So this is the art gallery stamp set, and I'm going to use the large flower, and it is a 2-step stamp. So if you don't know what that means, it means it creates a layered effect in 2 steps. So we have our solid image, and then we have our more details, and I'm going to want leaves. And I think for this one, I'm going to do a "You Are Loved" in honor of Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to tuck those to the side, and I'm going to pull in my blocks. So I've got my D block for my stamps. So those are my 2 blooms. I can get my "You Are Loved" on a B block diagonally, or it will fit on a G block perfectly. So there's that. And then I'm going to pull in, let's see, fit on there? No. So I'm going to pull in another D block for my leaves. This is actually one of our paper pumpkin blocks. If you don't know what paper pumpkin is, I will talk about that a little bit later. So we're going to start with the fuller image, and we're going to stamp that in our lighter color. So in this case, we're going to use Seaside Spray to coordinate with our mat. And we're just going to ink up our stamp. Make sure it's inked well. And then we're just going to put that on our cardstock and lift. And how pretty is that? I mean, you could use that without adding the details, but we're going to add those details. So now I'm using the Pretty Peacock. So this is the stamp that is more just the outlines and the accents. And because this is a photopolymer stamp, you can line it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. Line it up as best as you can. I'm going to say there, without getting my head in the screen too much. And you can see it just adds layer and dimension by adding that second step. So now I'm going to pull in Pear Pizzazz and we're going to stamp our leaves. So same thing, you're just going to ink up your stamp. And I'm going to stamp that down here. And you can see that I didn't fully ink up that image, so I'm just going to re-ink that and re-stamp it. There we go. So there are our leaves. I'm just going to put my inks to the side. So now we're going to pull in our dies. I'm just going to close the inks for a moment. Otherwise I'm going to end up with inky fingers, no doubt. I haven't even used these dies yet. And you can see we have the floral die, and then we have the leaves. And I think I'm going to use this one here for our sentiment. So I'm just going to tuck these again to the side. So now we're going to pull in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine once again, and we're going to cut these out. So this is where the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine would come in really handy, is for when we're doing my lives here. So for the dies, we know that we need a 1, a 2, and 2 3s. So this is my 1, there's my 2, that's 1 3. So we're going to put our paper on there, and now we're going to put on our dies and line them up with the shape of the stamped image as best as possible. Same with my leaves. I apologize if my head's in the camera at the moment. And if you're worried about your dies shifting, you can always use a piece of washi tape to hold them in place. This one's a little bit finicky because of the stem, so I might actually use a piece of washi tape on that. So this is some retired washi tape. I'm just going to put it over the die just to hold it in place so it doesn't shift on me when I'm cutting. So now you sandwich it in between that other number 3 and you just crank it through, same as we did with the embossing folder. When it gets to the other side, pull out the tray. Actually, I'm going to need that again, so I will leave that for a moment. And there are our images. Now I do want to stamp our greeting as well. I'm just going to peel my die off here. And you can stamp your greeting first and then cut it, or you can cut your spacer or your image and then stamp, which is what I'm going to do here. And you notice I flipped it over and I'm using the back side of where I boo-booed that image, just to make sure I use every little scrap of paper. Pull that back in, and fold this down. Hi everyone, if you're joining, I would love for you to share the video. I am giving away a stamp set this week for everybody that shares. Leave me comments, let me know what you think. Alright, so I'm just going to put a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to the side once again. There is our piece for our greeting. And so I have the "You Are Lovely," and we're going to stamp that in. I'm going to do Seaside Sleigh once again here. So I'm just going to ink that up. And I apologize if you get my head in the shot once again while I line this up. There we go. Hi, Debbie. So there's our sentiment. And now we can assemble. So the first thing I want to do is actually attach my ribbon. So I am using the Pretty Peacock ribbon, and I want, of course, paper snips are right in front of me, I'm blind for looking. I want to trim it so that it isn't too long. And I'm actually going to create a straight edge on the right side. And I want it to be slightly longer than my greeting, and I'm going to cut that on an angle. So there's our ribbon, and we're going to attach that using our seal, or you could use Stampin' mini glue dots if you have those. So I'm just going to put my adhesive right on the card. So one thing I love about the seal is it is great for attaching ribbons. It doesn't get all goopy, and it's definitely not messy. So I just need a little bit extra here. There we go. So there's our ribbon. And then I'm going to attach our greeting using mini dimensionals. And the reason I'm using the minis is I want them to fit without any overhang. So I'm just going to put those all the way across. And if you've never used dimensionals before, they are just little pieces of foam. They're double-sided adhesive, so it's sticky on both sides. All you have to do is once you peel it off the back, you then peel off the little backings from each individual little honeycomb here. And we're going to stick that on top of our ribbon, so slightly layered. And then I'm going to tie a bow using linen thread. And you can make it as big or as little as you like. Just play with your rabbit ears until you get the desired look. Give the ends a trim. Hi, Sonia. I'm going to grab my glue dots because I didn't grab those. So these are the mini glue dots. And we're going to stick that on there. It's coming together nicely. And now we need to add our flower. So I'm going to grab my stem. I'm going to grab my flower. And I'm actually going to bring my stem down over my ribbon, just slightly, to get the right fit. There we go. And now we're going to use dimensionals to pop that up. So again, I like to use every last little piece of my dimensionals. Thanks for sharing, Sonia. So when I get to the end and all that's left are the edges, I just use my paper snips, and I like to cut bits and pieces so that I can use up all the little squares. Oh, thanks. I had fun doing my nails. I've discovered Gel Moment, and I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. All right. And that piece is a little bit long, so I'm just going to give it a snip. Okay, so then you peel the backs off those. that down like so. I'm going to peel the backs off of this one. You like the background, Cora? It's pretty, isn't it? So there's our flower. And of course, you know me, I like bling, so I'm going to pull in some rhinestones and we're going to add bling to our card. Just a spattering. There we go. So there's our first card. So again, this was the card I created at the team meeting. And then this is the adaptation with the different stamp set. I love when you can use a layout and convert it to incorporate other sets. So we're going to create another card and we're still using the same set. In fact, we're actually going to do the same layout, but I said at the beginning that I was going to play with new products, and that is in addition to the stamp set and dies, which I hadn't yet used. We are going to play with the gold leafing. So if you have had a chance to look through the catalog, you may have seen it and wondered what exactly it is. And I have to tell you, I'm really excited and nervous to use this because I feel like it could go horribly wrong. So you get to watch what happens when I create with things for the first time. Now I do know that the gold leafing is in this lovely little container when you get it, but when you open it, it is supposed to expand and go everywhere. I was forewarned. So I have this lovely bin that I picked up at Dollarama before lockdown, and you can see like it expands. So I'm just going to try and get as much of the leafing out of here as I can, because you don't want to waste it. Okay. Yeah. It's going to be so messy, I can tell. All right. So I'm putting that to the side for a second. So we are using another in color. And again, this one is retiring. This is Purple Posy, which is our card base. So again, it is 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to fold it in half to be 5.5 by 4.25. I'm going to give that nice fold. And next I have Highland Heather. So we're going to attach that. Again, just using our seal. Give that a good rub. I already embossed our background when I was making the last card just to save a little bit of time. So again, just when you're using the 3D folders, go slow with your adhesive so that you don't tear the paper. And that piece is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So we have that. We're going to do the same thing we did with the ribbon. So this is the Purple Posy ribbon. So I'm going to make a flat edge along the right. And then I'm going to measure it out. I'm going to say about there. And I'm just going to leave that loose for a moment. And I'm going to pull in my scrap paper here. And we're going to do this thing. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to clean my stamps because I don't want the darker colors in my Highland Heather ink. Now Purple Posy, it had some quality issues with the ink when it was released last year, and they actually had to discontinue the ink. So in terms of that particular ink color, you were still able to get the Stampin' Right markers in Purple Posy and the re-inker so that you could use blender pens or you could ink up the Stampin' spots that you can buy. So you were still able to get the ink color, but you weren't able to get ink pads. So that's why I'm going to use the Highland Heather. All right, so I want this, and I want my Highland Heather ink. So normally you would stamp your lighter color first with the more filled in or solid flower, and then your detailed in the darker color. In this case, because I don't have Purple Posy, I am going to stamp the solid image in Highland Heather. Give that a good push. I'm going to close that up for a moment. And I am going to come in with the details and Versamark ink, because this is where we create the magic. So you're going to ink your stamp the way you usually would. And Versamark, if you've never used it, is a watermark ink. So it's not colored, it's clear. When I stamp this, you're going to think, oh, you didn't stamp anything, but I did. And I'm going to cover that over. I have a scrap piece of paper here, which I folded in half, because we're going to use heat and stick powder. So you can see I've lifted up the stamp. There's nothing on that. So this is heat and stick powder. It works just like our embossing powders. And normally it doesn't have all this glitter in it. My kids mixed it up, so I'm hoping it will still work. So just flick off any extra. So you can kind of see the powder on there. We're going to use our heat tool to set that. And the reason I have this folded piece of paper is I can use it as a funnel to put the excess powder back in the container. So I'm just going to get rid of that, so I create less of a mess than I plan to. All right, I'm going to make sure the gold leaf is out of the way, because I'm going to pull in my heat tool. And I don't know how loud this is actually going to be on camera with the microphone picking it up, so I apologize for the noise. So this is our heat tool. And it just melts the powder. Now, because I have that glitter in it, you can kind of see where the powder is. Normally, you wouldn't be able to see it. And I'm going to come back in with the gold leaf. And this is where the magic happens. So we're just going to put it into the gold leaf. Oh my gosh, what a mess already. And you want one of our Stampin' sponges. You don't want a dauber. So then you're going to just press it on to the heat and stick powder and just really rub it. Oh my gosh. What a mess. What a mess. But it's a beautiful mess, so I'm not going to complain too much. But you can see why I dumped the gold leafing into a larger bin, because there's no way I would have been able to do that with the small pot. And then this will just become my... it's sticking to my fingernails, it's sticking to the cardstock, even where I don't have the heat and stick powder. So let's... Oh, look, see, now I have leafing on my nails. I've added to it. It's great. Who needs nail polish? Just add some gold leafing. All right, so let's carefully move this to the side. The gold leafing is so light that as I move that container, it flies everywhere. It's crazy. So there we go. So the heat and stick powder with the gold leafing over top has just added an extra dimension to that flower. How fantastic is that? So now we can finish creating the way we did before. So I'm gonna, I wonder if I can get a stem on there. Let's see. Ugh. The leafing is just everywhere. Oh my gosh, such a mess. Such a mess. All right, let's see. It's like Tetris, trying to find the right angle to get it in there. Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. So there's my stem being stamped. Perfect. And then I'm also going to cut out another spot for our sentiment. So I'm just going to close up that ink. We're going to bring in the machine. And let's get this all set up here. So we've got our sentiment going here. And I've got my flower here, which I'm going to cut like that. And my leaves. Like that. Maybe. And with those leaves, again, I'm going to use the washi tape just to hold it, because I don't want it moving when I cut. There we go. All right, so we're going to put our other plate on top. And then we're just going to crank it through. There we go. Pull it out. Put this away. All right. So let's get our dies out of the way here. Carefully pull that washi tape off. So there's our leaves and our flower. And our little tag for our sentiment. All right. So let's go back over here. And for this one, I think I want to do this more on an angle for this one. So I'm going to come in like that, I think. Yes, I like that. All right, so let's get our dimensionals again. So I'm just using minis here. It's just the first thing I grabbed. So there's that. So we're going to put our stem about there. And then I've got my larger bits and pieces here for the balloon. Peel those backs off. Cora, they're from the Art Gallery stamp set. It's part of the Fine Art bundle in the catalog. Now, I will actually be using this as the focus for my March online class. I just think it's so beautiful. It warrants a whole class. So we're going to tuck our ribbon just underneath the stem there and use our seal to attach that once again. So about there. Ribbon. All right, so there's our ribbon. And now we want to do our sentiment again. So I'm going to stick with the You Are Lovely, but this stamp set has great sentiments. So you have I miss you, congratulations, happy birthday, good luck, sorry, thank you, best wishes, and I'm thinking of you. And I'm going to use the Highland Heather ink just to tie it all together. So we'll ink that up. And we're going to stamp that on our little tag. You're so lovely. And again, we're going to use those mini dimensionals to pop that up. Like so. I'm just going to peel the backs off. We're going to tuck that just below the ribbon. And then again, we need a bow from our linen thread. Let's tie that. Play with your bow till you get it how you like it. And then we're going to use a glue dot to attach that. And of course we need bling, but because I've used the gold leafing, I don't think I want the rhinestones. So do I want gilded gems or do I want champagne rhinestones? What do you all think? I've got the two choices. The gold gilded gems or the champagne rhinestones. Which ones do you think would look better? Remember, we used the clear rhinestones on the first one. Cora says the champagne rhinestones. That's the first comment I see, so that's what we're going to use. All right. So I'm going to use a big one first. I think I'm going to put that one over here. And then I'm going to use two smaller ones. There. So there we go. So from one card inspiration, we've made two cards using the same layout, different stamp set, and they're all lovely. And I really like the gold leafing. So pretty. So messy, but so, so pretty. I am going to switch my camera, so give me 1 second. Hello once again. I had to switch my mics, which is why I paused it for a moment. So thank you all for joining tonight. I hope you enjoyed the projects. I can't take credit for the design. As I said, it was a card that my team leader designed for a recent team meeting, and it was one of our make and takes. I didn't have the stamp set she used, which I now do, so I had to create one with that, and I wanted to try out the so messy gold leafing. It might be messy, but it's beautiful, so I'm not going to complain about that. So just a couple of reminders. If you join me tonight, don't forget to share, because I will be giving away the Touched My Heart stamp set, which is one of the hostess rewards. You're going to get the cards we made tonight, as well as this cute card for Galentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day. My Snailed It card class is still open for registration. I showed this last week. This is one of the cards you'll be making, featuring the Snailed It bundle. Love, love, love this little guy. He's so fun. You can sign up until the 17th. The information is on the website. Also on the 17th, my bingo is registration closes. So bingo takes place on March the 6th. It is a live or virtual but live event. So you will play bingo, we'll craft together, there's make and takes and prizes, and it's going to be so much fun. And it is a PJ party, so you can come in your jammies. There may or may not be prizes for the best jammies. It's just going to be a ton of fun, so I really hope you'll join me. And I think that's all. Stay tuned, because I will have a class posted hopefully by the end of the week featuring the art gallery bundle. It will be my March online class, so similar to my Snailed It class for February, there will be a March class featuring art gallery. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you have a great week. Take care, everybody.